doing? Good. It was too much effort to fly to Dallas. You got a few, there's a few more we can just get out of the way, right, Terry? All right, men, let's go. Shoot, or we're bringing Terry up here so you can grill him. Well, look, I mean, I think 30 teams right now have the same goal. Everybody's trying to make the playoffs, okay? And it's a goal of ours, and it's a goal we're not going to shy away from. No different than in our first year when Terry and I first got here. That was our goal, and we pursued it as long as it was realistic. Expectations may be tempered a little bit more than they have been the last couple of years, but we're not shying away from any expectations. We're going to compete, and I think the goal for this roster is to compete at the highest level it's capable of competing at. Same way we always do. Are our players getting better? Are we building a culture? Are we better at the end of the year than we were at the beginning? And does this roster have the potential to sustain excellence? No, I mean, look, I think the culture is something we've been trying to build since day one. And the culture is always the same here. It's players first. And like I said, when we got hired, myself, Terry, Chris, everybody in this organization, before they make a decision, they ask themselves, how does it affect the players? And they're our priority. And all we ask in return is that the players then put the team first. And that culture doesn't change with the whim of players coming and going. That is an organizational culture. And we pursue players in free agency and trade that we know will buy into that. And we really believe that this group, as evidenced by the kind of summer they had and the commitment to the organization they had the entire offseason, is willing to buy into the kind of culture we've created here the last 3 years. It's always important, but probably even more so this year, Joe. The fact that, Damian is a returning starter. He was a younger guy, amidst that group, but for him to take over and take ownership and be willing to be held accountable by his teammates and the organization as far as empowering that group to get together as early as they did. He established what's important to us. And to take that kind of leadership at a time when these weren't guys, and this wasn't a returning group, a lot of these guys Damian hadn't even met at a time he was contacting them and trying to organize getting together in San Diego for them to work out. So it was a big step forward for him, and it probably has accelerated a lot of what we're going to try and do in camp, that Terry will build through the month of October. But getting guys together in August the way Damian did, having guys, the entire roster was here before Labor Day, worked out together every day. So we're probably further ahead of the curve than we could expect to be with the number of new players we have. Probably not as much as it will to you guys. We've been together with these guys since we signed them, in July. We're together with them. We recruited them. None of these things are done anonymously. I mean, these are players we've targeted. We've followed their careers. Many of whom both Terry and myself have had relationships with in the past on other teams. I mean, clearly I drafted Farouk. Through the draft process, I had evaluated Ed Davis. You've been around. Terry's coached against these guys, watched film on them, prepared to play against them. So we probably have more of a familiarity basketball-wise with these guys than we can expect our fans and the media and season ticket holders to have. I think they'll learn about them very quickly. It's a great group of players. But we're probably further ahead right now. A lot of it is due to, Damian's leadership and getting this group together as early as possible. And one of the luxuries that, Terry had and the coaches had was when any of us were contacted by the new players about, hey, when are guys getting to Portland? Being able to say, well, Damian, CJ, Allen, and Myers are already here. The message gets across pretty quickly that, your teammates expect you to be here working out in Portland and, starting to become a part of the community. So that made it a lot easier for these guys to assimilate into what we do because they've been here for 6 weeks. Anybody else? All right, guys, thank you.